Boys and girls, women and children of small ages. I think it's supposed to be of all ages, but whatever. Today we need to get the STI ready to be towed down to the fabricator. So we have a lot of like smaller things we need to get worked out today. Hey, this bumper on this car has not been back on it in, I don't know, 7 months. I don't think the bumper's been on the car.
You haven't test fitted it?
No, I haven't put that bumper on since I put the hood struts in because I can't get the bumper on, so I need to trim the bumper to be able to get the bumper on the car. So, bumper has to go back on. I want to find a spot for the fuel pressure regulator to sit in the engine bay. I'm gonna finish wiring in the fuel pump, probably a whole bunch of other smaller miscellaneous stuff. I need to order 5x114 to 5x100 wheel spacers to be able to tow the car down there because I don't have tires for those 18x11 RS05 RRs that I've got sitting in the back. So what I'm gonna do is use Melanie's stock Impreza wheels, which are 5x100, throw them on the STI and just tow it down there like that. It'll be cheaper than me buying tires right now because this car is already expensive and I don't want to buy tires quite yet. The turbo shows up on Tuesday, so that's the real reason I'm really trying to get this car down there. If the fabricator has space at a shop and time to start on it. I'm expecting fabrication to take, I don't know, around a month to a month and a half maximum. He's doing the header, downpipe, external wastegate dump tubes, oil pan, oil pickup, oil baffle, intercooler piping, radiator, he's doing a ton of stuff for us. So let's kind of go over and gloss over what we got going on right now. Like I said, bumper hasn't been on in a while because of these guys right there. The bumper just doesn't want to go back in. B, somebody did suggest that I should use the ground cable from the battery to go up to the starter, so we're probably going to be doing that because the amperage on the starter pulls a lot of amperage, and it could just pop the circuit breaker every single time we go to start the car. So there's that, but I got these fancy crimping tools also that I wanted to show you guys because if anyone else is doing a lot of wiring like this, they have like removable dies so that way you can swap the die in and out of here, so I thought that was pretty neat. But let's start off with trying to make this bumper fit. I'm gonna have to cut some tabs here to be able to make it clear these guys right here. So let me play with this for probably about 15-20 minutes. We'll get it back on the car. I'm curious. I haven't seen the bumper back on this car in so long. I don't know. Let's just put it on there. This is such a good feeling. This is the first time this bumper has been on this car in 7 months. So we have so much more room to work with than I thought we did. We have a foot between where the front of the engine is to where the bumper ends. Now, my goal for this car is to retain the bumper. Now, I left this piece off to test fit it on here, but I'm gonna take the bumper back off, put that piece on. This piece is what goes down here, like on these little tabs right there, and supports the bumper, because right now the bumper's only held in with 2 bolts, the 2 lag screws that I have going into the frame down there on the splitter, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna see how much more room I have with that. Kyle is a really good fabricator, and he can work around some pretty tight areas. So if I'm able to retain that piece right there, he doesn't have to tube the front end up here anymore, which would be ideal for what we're doing. I actually think I might also cut the core support up here and put that back in just to see how much more room we have, because we're not going to keep the little piece that goes down to the bottom support down there. I'm just trying to minimize how much Kyle has to fabricate for us to make his job easier and to reduce how much money we're spending also. So let me pull this bumper back off, get that piece on, kind of see how much room we have to work with, and then we'll make the determination if we can use that or if we have to have a custom piece. But seeing the bumper back on this thing, check it out too with the hood closed. We have the hood come down. Like, oh my God, you guys, it looks like how it looked with the EJ in it. I've missed this car so much. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get you live again, baby girl. So let's check clearances with this, make sure we're all good there, and then see what we're gonna do next. So I went ahead and I got this piece test fit back on, as well as this upper piece. So the OEM style utilizes this guy right here. Cut it off. So it looks like we're gonna have plenty of room down here for our intercooler and radiator setup. If I can like scoot back. So between the front of the engine and where the bumper sits, we have 12 inches. So we have, well, about 12.5 inches. So we have about a foot. Height wise, I didn't measure that, but I'm going to guess that looks to be about maybe 18 to 20 inches right here. Radiator wise, I don't know. I think the radiator is going to end up sitting between this piece right here that secures the bumper and right here. So the radiator would go right here. Kyle can just cut these tabs out if need be. The filler neck for the radiator would probably sit about right here or somewhere up here, just so that way the radiator filler neck is the highest point in the engine. So that way when we go to burp it, we can get all the air bubbles out effectively. Now with the intercooler, the game plan is to have it come right here and just kind of like funnel down behind that piece down here to the intercooler. I don't know how Kyle's gonna do that. He might cut right here and right here, extend that piece up a little bit to be able to accommodate that piece of charge piping that comes down. But being able to utilize these factory components, Matt brought up a good point. If we can use, it's better to have the parts on there than not, because if Kyle can use these, A, it saves time, B, it saves money, materials. There's just a lot better like trying to utilize OEM parts. So now that that's on, I'm gonna get the bumper put back on here and just check space, but right now everything looks good. So bumper is fully secured back on here. I actually forgot how good this car looks wrapped. I actually might just keep the wrap on. There's a little, I might have to rewrap the fender because I did get a little bit of overspray like right in there as I was painting the engine bay a while ago. Oh well, but you know what? I'm just like stoked to have it looking the way that it is again. So if we come up here and we pop this latch here, we go boop, flip you up, come here, boop. That's the tough one. Flip you up, and then we just, how do I open you now? There we go. We have a decent amount of room down there still, and I think we can keep and retain all of these OEM parts. I think Kyle will be able to work around them, no problem. Like I said, cut that tab off there, cut that tab off right there. And with both of those tabs gone, have the radiator sit right here, and then the intercooler sit down there, and I think we'll be solid right there, you guys. Big turbo right here, which I can't wait for that thing to show up on Tuesday, so that way we can actually get that thing mocked up in here. But, oh, my favorite part about this car is with the hood closed, you'd have no idea that there's a 6-cylinder in here. So, actually, now that I have the bumper on and the fender and the hood and everything is like kind of reassembled, I do want to test fit one of the wheels again just to see what it'll look like with the bumper and everything on there. Yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, Matt. Oh, that was not a fun noise. I'm starting to think I should have gone wider with the wheels. I mean, they stick out a decent ways. I mean, I guess with the tire on there, they'll probably poke out a little bit more, but I'm kind of starting to think I should have gone a little bit wider, maybe like 18 by 12. It'll do with the tire on there. We'll run like the ML24 flares or something like that, but how should it look with the bumper and everything on? Yo, I'm all about it. I am all about it. So now that we've got the bumper back on, the next thing I want to do is get the fuel pumps. Like I want to finish wiring up the fuel pumps, and I want to wire in the power to the ECU going to the battery, just because we have positive and negative that go there, and then we also have one more wire that controls fuel pumps or fuel pump, so we can easily knock both of those out. So let me kind of show you the wiring that I have back there and the routing that I'm thinking of. We may have to do a run to the auto parts store to go grab some more wire. I'm about to lose my shit on wiring right now. This is terrible. It might only be terrible because I'm trying to do it inside of the trunk, but it is awful. So I got the power wire done for the fuel pump, which I'm actually pretty happy with. So it's sheathed, it's terminaled up, it's good to go. So that one's done. I got the grounds done right here, but I'm really not happy with them. So I'm probably gonna redo those just because I don't like the way they came out. It's trying to get these stupid open barrel crimps to crimp on properly, which sucks. If you guys have, like, this is the proper way. Can we focus on my hand here? Like, these are the proper way to do motorsports wiring stuff, but these things suck ass. They suck ass to crimp on, and it's awful. It's literally awful to get on there, especially when you're trying to go from like 2-wire to 1-wire to a terminal with like sheathing and everything on there. I'm so over this. I'm over it. I'm about to just start soldering connections onto the battery. I'm just gonna solder the power and ground wires straight to the battery. We'll call it a day. I can't do that. That's wrong. That's wrong. I need to take a moment from wiring and just stop wiring for a little bit. I have to order some bigger open barrel terminals for those rear ones just because they don't quite fit properly with the ones that I have now. So order those today. So I'm gonna stop with wiring. We're gonna go ahead and get the fuel pressure regulator mounted up in the engine bay in this thing. So I have a Radium something. I don't remember what kind. Let me grab it out the box real quick. So this fuel pressure regulator is all -8, which is why I got this Radium one over some of the other ones out there, because our fuel rails are -8, so we needed a proper fuel pressure regulator. So we have all of our fittings here and whatnot, all the good stuff right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy. I'm gonna find a home for it. We're gonna find a home in the engine bay to mount that thing. I don't quite know where I want it yet. I might do it in the same spot that I did it on the 05 STI and do it right up there on the pitch stop. Maybe we'll go on the firewall or the strut tower. I don't know. Let me play around with this for like 20 minutes, find a home for this thing. And then maybe, just maybe, I'll start playing with wiring again. It's a big maybe on that one. So I just had a real big brain issue moment here, and I couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing. I had to have Matt come and help me real quick. So we got it figured out. This thing confused the hell out of me, and I'll show you why here in a second. But I need to order some stuff for the fuel system here to get this thing going. I mean, A, I want to get it knocked out. B, I can get all this stuff by like Tuesday or Wednesday to be able to do this. Let me show you. Let me show you, because this just like blew my noodle open. So this is the Radium multi-port fuel pressure regulator that I'm going to be using. It's got the little gauge on it, nice fancy stuff. Now on one side, the instructions on this were like confusing the hell out of me. So essentially, these two top ports right there, those are going to be the returns from the, oh dear God, what are those for? Okay, so the two top ports are the returns from the fuel rails up to the fuel pressure regulator. That bottom port is from the fuel pressure regulator back to the hard line. Now in our engine bay here, our fuel rails are all -8. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna remove the -6 feed line from there, and we're gonna run a new line for the feed, and I'll show you that in a second. But I have to order 2 new fittings. For the return side of the fuel rail, we need to go from -8 ORB to -6 AN. So all of the return lines are going to be -6, but the feed is going to be a -8. So back here in our fuel tank area, we already have the Radium dual fuel pump in there. Now that Y fitting right there is something that we're going to swap out, because both of the fittings coming from the fuel pumps are both -6. We're going to change that Y fitting to a -8, so that way we can run a new -8 line from the feed right there all the way up to the engine bay, and then properly Y them off to feed our fuel rails. So while I have all of these fitting sizes fresh in my mind right now, let me go order them real quick, and then we'll get the fuel pressure. We'll find a spot for the fuel pressure regulator and get that mounted. But gee, this is just like blew my noodle open. Blew it wide open, Matt. Don't laugh, all right? Don't laugh, all right? We have our moments. Yeah, so Matt tore apart. This is the engine out of the White Legacy that's over there. This is all that's left of cylinder 3's bearing. The other half is gone. What I just did on that car was probably one of the worst things I have ever done with it. And I've done a lot with this car, but that sucked. Like, that didn't just suck, it sucked. So instead of going and mounting the fuel pressure regulator like I said I was going to, I took it upon myself to just start removing all the stock feed line from the car, and it's awful. It's awful to do. Like, nope, nope. So that's what's left of the feed line. It's just a whole bunch of pieces at this point. The feed line that comes out of the firewall up here, that is what I just pulled out. So now all we have here is return and evap. Now, to get these fuel lines out, let me tell you now, there's a small grommet down there that you really got to battle with, bend, fight, and yell at to be able to get it out. There was a whole bunch of curse words spoken here. But down here, if you can see that little cutout right there, I had to cut it out just a little bit more to be able to gain access to the fuel line. The fuel line goes to that grommet, goes behind all this stuff over here, and then wraps out and comes down and meets up with the rest of the fuel line down there, and then goes back to the fuel tank. Probably one of the worst things I've had to remove on this car, because I should have done it when the dash bar was out, because I didn't even think about it at the time. But that's out. That absolutely sucked. So I've got the feed out of the car completely now, so there's no more fuel feed going from the pumps up to the front of the car. So we're gonna do like this Y fitting right here. I can grab it. The new Y fitting, this is a -6 Y fitting. So you have 2 -6 on that side, -6 on this side. The new one is going to be a -8 right down there on the bottom, and then 2 -6 going into it. So both of the fuel pumps are going to feed into a -8, go up to the front of the car, split off, go to the fuel rails, go up to the fuel pressure regulator, come back, return, go back to the tank and all that fun stuff right there. I still have to get that last fuel line out right there. That's kind of chilling, but this is awful. This is awful. If you have to pull out like a hard line, I wish you the best of luck. So let me finish pulling this guy out right here because he doesn't want to come out. And then I think the last thing I'm gonna do today is mount the fuel pressure regulator, just because I'm so beat after like fighting with that thing. That took me about, I'd say about an hour to an hour and a half just to get that line out. Don't recommend. I changed my mind. I'm not gonna mount the fuel pressure regulator yet. I'm not gonna mount it till I get all the fuel line stuff and fuel and do the rest of the fuel components here, which should show up this coming week because I placed the order today. Today is Sunday, so I should get them like Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday, sometime this week. I don't want to. I've noticed I do this thing where I get overexcited and I start either removing stuff or installing stuff too early before I have everything else, and then it kind of throws things off later on. So I'm gonna wait. I have a general idea. We'll probably mount it up on the pitch stop, kind of like we did on the 05 STI. I can easily build a bracket here in the garage out of some sheet metal that I have laying around. We can powder coat it, get it up in the engine bay, but we still made solid progress today. Like my back hurts so bad. The angle that I had to like get in, I was like this on my back, like in the driver's door trying to get that line out. It sucked. It completely wrecked me. So we got the bumper situation figured out. We have enough clearance in there to where Kyle can work with what he's got for a radiator and an intercooler setup. We got like, I'm gonna say 40% of the wiring done in the trunk. That shit just, no, 100% no, that's not enjoyable at all, but I gotta do it. I'll just do it a different day because I can only take little doses of arguing and fighting with wires in a confined space after a while. It's pretty much ready to go to fabrication at this point. Turbo gets dropped off day after tomorrow. Once the turbo's here, I'm working with Kyle to find a date and time of when I can tow this thing down there. Anyways, if you like the video, you guys know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, sight, and whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up one of these corners. No idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies. Woo!